Okay, quote, "I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally." That was Donald Trump after he won back in November of 2016, throwing out baseless claims of widespread voter fraud in our elections. And he has been doing it for a decade. He blamed his 2020 loss on it, too, claiming that millions of people, including non-citizens, were voting illegally and impacted the outcome of his race against Joe Biden. Now, new reporting from Axios is showing just how far this administration is willing to go to pursue those claims, despite all the fruitless investigations and lawsuits and overall complete lack of any evidence whatsoever. The group Democracy Forward has obtained new records, including emails showing agents from Homeland Security Investigations, which is part of ICE, went directly to local officials in Texas and in North Carolina to obtain voter files. And in at least two different counties, Webb County in Texas and Forsyth County in North Carolina, those files were turned over. The Webb County election administrator told Axios he'd never seen requests like this before. And while voting files can vary from state to state, they typically include very sensitive information like people's registration history and their address and their date of birth and their driver's license number and, of course, their voting history. A DHS spokesperson said in a statement to Axios, quote, "We have repeatedly demonstrated that illegal aliens can and do vote in our elections. Under President Trump, HSI is committed to restoring integrity to our election systems and ensuring that American citizens and only American citizens are electing American leaders." The fact that this White House, specifically ICE, is seeking out such private information is setting off alarm bells. Because if this effort is meant to uncover widespread fraud, the data suggests they're looking for something that barely exists. By law, states control elections, not the federal government. And to be clear, documented cases of non-citizen voting are extraordinarily rare. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, documented just over 1,600 cases of voter fraud from 1982 to 2025. And of those, only 100 involved non-citizen voting. That's 100 cases over the span of 43 years. My entire lifetime. 100 cases, a fraction of a percent of the more than 1.3 billion votes cast in presidential elections over that time period. Joining me now is Skye Perryman, the president and CEO of Democracy Forward. Skye, this is extraordinary new information, and I want to zoom out for a second because the Trump administration is actively using immigration enforcement agencies. HSI is part of ICE to reach into state and local voter systems. That is pretty uncharted territory. What does that signal for our elections, especially in a midterm year?
It certainly signals that you have an administration that is really seeking to double down on these claims that there is no basis for around non-citizen voting for all the reasons that you just cited, as well as so many more. DHS has made hires recently where you have people that are actually known election conspiracy theorists and conspiracy promoters within DHS and ICE. So this is highly concerning and is yet another data point that this administration is trying to seed doubt in the American people's mind, is trying to wheel and deal in misinformation in order to undermine our elections coming up.
We know about North Carolina and Texas because of the work that you've done, but is there any indication that ICE has gotten access to this data in any other state?
You know, we are investigating that. And the one thing I want to highlight for everyone paying attention is, of course, we know about this because we at Democracy Forward, working alongside partners, are able to request information. When the administration stonewalls and doesn't provide it, we're able to sue and get information out. And that's part of the work here, is for people to understand that lawyers and organizations like ours are going to work every single day to uncover what is happening and also to challenge what is happening where the administration violates the law. So just know that. That should give us all some measure of hope that there are folks that are going to work on this every single day. We are investigating how widespread this is. We do know that the administration's efforts to seed doubt about the election, to continue to spread lies that they can provide no evidence for, has been something that they've been focused on in a number of states across the country, not just Texas and North Carolina.
Yeah, I completely agree that doubt is the key word here. And that's what this is doing, sowing the seeds of doubt surrounding the midterms, making it all much louder, no matter if it's just these two states. And that's 2 states too many. I want to play a part of a conversation for you that I had with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker last year in the middle of the ICE raids in Chicago. Let's watch.
I believe that he's going to post people outside of ballot boxes and polling places. And if he needs to, in order to control those elections, he'll assume control of the ballot boxes and count the votes himself. He promised to do that. He threatened to do that back in 2020. Didn't get the chance to do it. I believe he would do it in 2026.
Do you believe we'll have free and fair elections in the United States of America during the 2026 midterms?
If we all stand up and speak out, we sure as heck will.
What do you think, Sky, is the difference between what he is saying or was fearful of happening and what you have uncovered now?
Look, I think the governor is right to be fearful that this administration is going to do everything they can to try to intimidate people not to vote, to try to seed doubt about the vote, and to try to undermine our elections. The important thing for people to understand is this is an administration that is losing on these issues. I mean, you were talking to the governor of Illinois when the National Guard was being deployed into Illinois. They lost at the administration lost at the Supreme Court over their deployments of the National Guard in Illinois. There's a court order in place keeping them out of Illinois. And that is really just a metaphor for how much we're seeing every day. Because people are speaking out and because the courts are stepping up, we are confident that we're going to be able to have as secure of an election as possible. But that doesn't mean that the threat isn't there. And I think it's important, and thank you for highlighting for everyone that's tuning in, the threats that are there, because we need to be very vigilant. And we also need to be outraged, frankly. This is a country that's celebrating its 250th anniversary. The struggle for voting rights, the struggle for all of us in this country to be able to make our voices heard, not just some of us, has been a generational struggle. We're seeing setbacks on that struggle, and it's going to be incumbent upon every single American to make up their mind that we are not going to have our voices silenced.
Sky Perryman, the president and CEO of Democracy Forward, such incredibly important work. Thank you for bringing it to Connect. I appreciate you being here.